I took vows till death, and I take them seriously. I believe this is just a phase for you, and I am willing to wait it out.
You are always waiting, Stephen. Waiting for me to come home, to want to have kids, to make you some great dinner. I don't know why we can't just accept that we don't want to live in unhappiness anymore. Okay.
So I know that we all have our likes in terms of movies. There are some people that actually like scary movies. That would not be me. But for the people that like scary movies, you know, they kind of suspend disbelief and, you know, they have an exciting time in the theater. Me, I like science fiction, but besides the point. So when I saw this movie, Arachnophobia, it scared the mess out of me. I was legit scared. I could not go to sleep, right? So when I think of scary movies like Arachnophobia or Jaws, you know, you're a little kid and you don't know it's a robot. Jaws scared the mess out of you. Or movies like Alien, which is really a sci-fi movie, but I mean, turn off the lights and watch Alien. You're gonna get scared. Even if you're gonna get scared. But once you become an adult and you kind of see that, oh yes, a bunch of special effects and that's not real, then the movies that scare you are more reality based. And I will venture to say, as a grown man, I don't think there's a movie scarier than Eat, Pray, Love. This movie is Hollywood at its best or at its worst, whichever way you want to say it. The story of this movie, it should scare every man to his bones. And now that I look back on seeing this movie, I think I was flying somewhere and I saw this movie come on and I was in disbelief that Hollywood could make something like this, but there it is. And I'm going to tell you why this is such a scary movie.
Rom-coms in Hollywood has destroyed the image of marriage. Disney has destroyed the image of marriage. So it doesn't surprise me that women are marrying for romantic love. Sadly, so many of our women are marrying for true love. And in my opinion, that's the wrong reason, because that's not what gets you through.
So the story of Eat, Pray, Love centers around a lady named Elizabeth. And she's married to a guy who his name doesn't matter because it doesn't. And at the wedding, he's head over heels for her. So at the wedding, he says, I married a hottie. And then, you know, this is not chronological, but it's a flashback. But the movie starts with her having this crisis. Like, I don't know why I'm happy. I don't know what to do. I feel boxed in. And so naturally, divorce, leaves the husband. Boom. First 30 minutes of the movie, boom. And then we got an hour to go eat, pray, love, right? So she takes off and she goes to Italy to eat. And while she's in the middle of learning how to eat and drinking wine and dancing, doing the dinner parties, she writes this letter to the husband that she divorced. Remember when you said we should live together or live with each other and be unhappy so we could be happy? Consider it a testimony to how much I love you that I spent so long pouring myself into that offer, trying to make it work. And then some blah, blah, blah stuff, talking about Rome and blah, 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 blah. And then we all want things to stay the same, David. Settle for living in misery because we're afraid of change, of things crumbling to ruins. Then I looked around in this place at the chaos it endured. This is Rome and stuff happened in Rome and blah, blah, blah. And the only real trap is getting attached to any of it. Ruin is a gift. Now look at that sentence. Ruin is a gift. Ruin is the road to transformation. And then both of us deserve better than staying together because we're afraid we'll be destroyed if we don't. And she signs it, Liz, Eat, Pray, Love, right? And then after she finishes eating in Italy, she goes to India for spiritual awakening. And she meets a guru, and the guru tells her some things about, I don't know, how to pray and spiritual stuff. And then she learns how to meditate and stuff and pray and stuff, right? And then off she goes to Bali or Indonesia, right? And she sold all of her belongings, and she's finding herself riding the bicycle, and she just happens to find love at the end of the movie. Boom, the end. Now, you know that this is not realistic. This is not realistic, and for Hollywood to make movies like this it's a horror movie to that husband. That husband tried everything he could to make that marriage work. And she says, I'm still not happy, I'm leaving. Boom, she's gone. Now, the clandestine part in all of this is if you're high powered so and such and you got financial assets tied down, and then you pop up one day and say, you know what, I'm unhappy, I'm going to leave my family, I'm going to leave my husband, and I'm just going to go leave the world, travel the world for a year. It sounds great. It sounds like a great movie. I mean, heck, it might even be practical, but it's blow your family up Hollywood. So this is a refresher, just so you can get it from a third party.
Eat, Pray, Love was about a woman's journey through divorce and through self-discovery. Okay.
Self-discovery.
And it's a true story. It's based on an actual book that was written by a woman who went through divorce and who was trying to find who she was and trying to find happiness in her life. And she did so by taking a year off and traveling to Italy, India, and Bali.
So in the book they say, it's based on a book of course, the 3 I's, Italy, India, and Indonesia. She went to the 3 I's to find herself.
So now you pretty much get the premise of the book. Now, I'll tell you first off, the guy on the left, he didn't like it. But I want you to hear the lady's reaction when she's asked about if she likes the movie or not.
What did you think of the movie?
I love the movie. I really enjoyed it. And the reason why I enjoyed it is because it did exactly what it set out to do. It attracted the target audience. I was the target audience. And there were parts of the movie where I could totally relate. And I felt like I was going through that journey with her.
Now, he's going to tease her a little bit here, but this is the most important part of this clip. So listen.
All right, no, every time I say something, you're going to make fun of me. So
No, I don't know what she's talking about.
Clownish.
Okay.
But look, the movie starts out with the number one thing that I fear in my life, that I'm going to end up marrying someone and settling for a life because society tells me that I need to settle.
There it is. Now, this is a movie from 2010, right? Society tells me that I need to settle. There it is, right there. And when Hollywood puts out messaging like this, it affects young women. And it doesn't just affect young women in America. It affects young women everywhere. Anywhere where someone is well off enough, but then maybe they have a career, whatever, and they're thinking, I don't have to settle. I don't have to settle. Well, define settle. Nobody can define it. This woman was married to a guy that was in Eat, Pray, Love, a guy that was dutiful. He was head over heels about her, but she just didn't twinkle anymore, or it didn't, she didn't get hot and bothered anymore. So blow it up, start over, because if she doesn't, she's settling. And that messaging is what Hollywood is selling, and it's, quite frankly, it's destroying families. So you might say, Passport OG, what's your proof that these kinds of movies are having an effect on young ladies? I'm glad you asked. Going through a divorce right now, but in my heart, I know that ruin is a gift. Ruin is a gift, huh? Where did we hear that? That letter she was writing, or the email she was writing to her husband while she was partying in Italy and he was mourning the death of his marriage. Or this is exactly how I feeling with my husband. We have one child together and one on the way. And I think deep down I am just terrified to leave because for some reason it will break my heart. But at the same time, I feel like I'm not in love, so I deserve happiness. I watched this like 10 times alone and with my friends, and I'm like in my mid-20s, and it never fails to teach me lessons in life. Great movie indeed. That's what people are learning from this, and there are tons and tons of comments, but this movie is a cult movie, and if you're dating somebody, you better ask them if they've seen this movie, because this movie is a relationship killer. It's a marriage killer.
And I don't know, is this what happens when you're dating in your 50s? Like, I don't remember it being this hard.
I'm celibate, and I have been for almost 6 years. So my situation is more on how do I find a man that's willing to commit to me, knowing that I'm not going to give him the cookie, even after 90 days. I don't want to give up the cookie until we get married.
I decided to create or go on to these dating websites, a couple of them, one Facebook dating and Plenty of Fish and Tinder, whatever. Really not having any success, but
let me tell you something. It does not get any better when you get older, okay? I got ghosted yesterday.
The cruel trick that Hollywood is playing on women is that in the movies, it ends with Julia Roberts finding a banker, I think, and running off to Bali and having incredible relations and living happily ever after. But the reality are the TikToks. It's clandestine, it's unfortunate, but when I say that Hollywood is destroying marriages, that's how they're doing it. They're destroying expectations. And it's not just relocation, guys. You got to make sure that you filter out some of that media, especially media like this, because it creates unrealistic expectations that lead women to have expectations of marriage that are just, they're not possible. You can't keep up with them. And in the end, it would appear that modern women have a tendency of leaving. That's it. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. Feel free to comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later, guys.